joining me today. And just a shout out, yesterday's our little 10 minutes of calm, loneliness versus being alone. A lot of great input from people. And got a number of different messages from folks with pretty incredible insights. And I do want to urge you, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this archive, feel free to reach out. I Those kind of things matter a lot. And actually it goes into a lot of how we actually plan and do services here at New Church Live. And it's a great way to just know what people are thinking. And spirituality is unique in that you are all experts. A lot of the time people look at pastors as experts, and I'm here to tell you we ain't. At best, a pastor is just somebody who walks with, and just helping you to know what you actually already know. So this just a little encouragement there and a little thank you. So today what we're looking at is this question: is there a gift in loneliness? Is there a gift in loneliness? And again, yesterday, for those of you tuning in for the first time, we looked at the difference between loneliness and being alone, and how being alone can be actually nice. It means I just need some time alone, and that works. Loneliness can be a pretty debilitating thing to experience, and yet in God's economy, nothing's wasted. And if nothing's wasted, that means even loneliness is not wasted. And we see that in this story here. So the line we've been looking at, and God said, it's not good for the human being to be alone. Let me make him or her, you could read that, an aid that seems to be theirs. So this is where Eve, sort of a foreshadowing of Eve arriving on the scene. And don't think of that as men were first and then there were women. Think of that as parts of our lives that grow. So folks, like, is there a gift in loneliness? And I want to say there is. And oftentimes this is the kind of thing we find. We find something in those lonely experiences that is actually pretty valuable. So I want to start out with a I want to say this very tenderly. Loneliness is not a lot of fun, and we've probably all experienced, as Dorothy Day famously said, we've all known the long loneliness. I think that is true. And where loneliness gets to be a challenge is when it leads to paralysis. So think of loneliness and paralysis. That's where loneliness really gets debilitating. And that paralysis, as I've witnessed it, is something, and experienced it certainly, is it something that can wrap tighter and tighter and tighter around us, sort of a boa constrictor of sorts that gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and we reach out less and less and less, and as we reach out less and less and less, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. That is not a good cycle to be in, and that is a cycle where if you need professional help, get it. If you need to call a pastor or a friend or a family member, do that, because that's not a good place to be. And if we can hold loneliness just as a feeling versus as constriction, I think that there's a gift. There can start to be a gift there. So here's an example. And this is a little bit of a side. And I want to be careful with how I say this. One of the things that I coach couples on all the time, because I do believe it's challenging, is not to use the statement "you complete me." That's a very famous one. Now, no doubt many of you watching this have used that statement, and there's nothing wrong with that per se. But in times of deep loneliness, you can see where that can be a challenge. If we really believe that someone else, something outside of us, completes us, that we are only half a person unless there is this other part, you can see where that can, at its worst, not all the time, probably not even the majority of the time, but it can feed into sort of a codependency that grows out of loneliness, where we're just like, this is the person who makes me feel like I'm not alone, and just clinging to them. And that's not healthy. That's not healthy spirituality. That's not healthy relationally. That's not what Manuel Swedenborg talks about as the healthy form of autonomy. And that's what we're supposed to learn in loneliness, I think, or part of what we learn is a much healthier form of autonomy. And that autonomy means this. That autonomy means that we come to walk with people. We are no longer looking for a relationship or someone that you complete me, clinging tightly to that. What we're doing instead of clinging is we're holding hands. And that could be literal, that could be physical. We're holding hands and we're walking together through the darkness. That's a very different part. You complete me versus I am so glad you're walking with me in this time are two very different energies. And I think, I am so glad you're walking with me at this time. Creates a much healthier way because it's about two complete people, 100% complete. Again, each of you is made in God's image and likeness. Each of you is not half of person searching for wholeness. You are whole, and sometimes life is really hard. That's simple. You are whole, and sometimes life is really hard. And when life is really hard, we desperately need each other. And we need each other because we need people to walk with us on this journey. And there are all kinds of people, folks, who can take advantage of somebody whose loneliness is leading them to look for someone to complete them. And what's coming to my mind was that crazy one where the dad of the daughter at Sarah Lawrence College, got all her friends into all this weird cult like stuff. Those when I see that, that makes me sad. That's I see that as lonely people who are looking for something outside of themselves that's going to give them a sort of a faux form of completeness. And the reality is that just doesn't work. So friends, like think about that. And I want to leave it on an up note because here's the good news, right? Like you all have friends and people who have walked with you in the darkness. I certainly have, and they've been just a blessing in my life. And the beautiful part is that we can acknowledge with gratitude others who have been that for us, helped us to walk through. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. And I think that line, that thou art with me, it's both talking about God and talking about friends and family who've walked with us through that. So we know that there's that walking, and it's about acknowledging that with gratitude, and then as best we can, there's the call embedded in that as well. And the call embedded in that is to walk with someone who's feeling lonely. I know for me, I just feel so blessed that there were people who, not all the time, but very consistently picked up the call or returned the email or the text message because I needed that. At times that felt very lonely. They were just this, they were just willing to walk with me. And that's what I think, a favor that we can keep on returning out there into the world. So friends, I hope that makes sense. And again, it's been interesting. When I got the comments yesterday, I thought, you know what? I got to turn this into a series because boy, you folks know some stuff. And boy, the input was just terrific. And I think there's a lot more here. I thought, boy, we'd blast through this and get quick, but we're going to take a look at this in some more depth in an upcoming series because I think there's so much here. So thank you for that input. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for walking with others who are experiencing darkness. You are an amazing bunch of souls, my friends. So with that, what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little breath. We're going to do a little meditation, and then after the meditation, we're going to do a little blessing, and then we'll say hi to folks on social media. So with that, friends, let's all get a little breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still, know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends. So let's pull up, and I'm going to actually try something new today. So I'm going to try to be super fancy. I'm going to try to actually switch on my phone between two different social media platforms. So I don't know whether it will work today or not, but I'm going to give it a try. Again, I am not Mr. Tech Guy by any remote stretch of the imagination, but let's go ahead and see. Oh, we got a lot of comments today. All right. So let's take a look here. Yes, Kim, good morning to the Thursday Commerce. And Thursday, by the way, Kim, always my favorite day of the week. I don't know why. I love Thursdays. Marcus, good morning to you, buddy, and hope you're doing well. Gene writes, got 20 minutes of calm this morning. Yesterday's beautiful thoughts. Well, Gene, you got sort of part one and part two because they're all connected here. Susan, great to see you joining us this morning, and I hope you're doing well. Carolyn from out there in the Midwest writes, happy Thursday. And thank you, Carolyn, and appreciate that. Paige, great topic. It really is, Paige. And it was so funny. Like, I just was like, oh, man. I was wondering what series we were going to do in June, and I think I got my answer. Jen writes, this is something I really needed to hear today. Well, glad it resonated, Jen. I think it did with a lot of us, certainly did with me. Ryan, my dear buddy, great to see you joining us this morning, and I hope you and your beautiful girls are doing well, bud. Sherry writes, good morning. Almost home after 4 weeks on the road. Sherry, I loved looking at the pictures. I mean, that just looked so beautiful. Mary, beautifully written here, Mary. I can sink into loneliness, which is thickly woven with feelings of abandonment. I try to see the invitation to go within to where God and life force resides, rather than looking externally for the temporary feel goods. And Mary, that's beautifully said, right? And that's I think that's the you complete me. And we could hold anything out there. It's like, this is what will complete me. I just need this. I just need this. I just need this. And the fact is, no, we're just feeling lonely. I mean, we're just lonely. And that's where it is. And can we find people who can walk with us in those times? And the fact is, I think we can. And Kim, you gave her a little shout out there. Me too. That's wonderfully said. All right, friends. So now let me see if I can be ultra fancy here. I don't know whether I can or I cannot. We will see here. See if I can flip to one more social media platform. And again, folks, I do want to just say, like, feel free to shoot me any notes you might have, because I do enjoy hearing people. All right, and one other comment here. Carl writes, helpful song for me in traumatic crises. James Taylor, That Lonesome Road. Oh, that's a good one. I'll have to put that in our file for a song to sing. So, friends, I'm wishing you all the very best. Hope God bless on your day. And again, with anything, please reach out if we can help in any way. Take care. Bye-bye.